What's up, guys? Mega Bleeder here with another episode of Star Technology. I know that I'm really late with this, but I did an absolute ton of work. I've just been super busy, so it's just been kind of jumping on here and there, trying to get the base caught up, doing some revamping of areas. So I'm going to get you set up with a progression log here. I don't know that we'll do much work during the episode, but let's get started. So, let me change that a little bit. There we go. Okay, so for starters, we left off the last episode. We did build this whole area here. I did modify it just a little bit. We put in some more features there. This is our ore production. I did change our trees. Let's go with that. Let's start at the beginning. Let's take a tour of the base. I guess since we got to walk past this, I will say between the episodes, I did rip out all of Tom's simple storage. So between applied energistics and laser IO, we are managing all of our logistics in a new way. So over here, you may have remembered that we had a bunch of jungle trees and arboreal extractors. We had a bunch of these guys down collecting latex. Now all of that has been replaced with 2 latex plantation controllers. These just take some iron and some fertilizer, and they make latex. Those are connected via laser IO. Everything, I've got some different network colors here. The green network is kind of the main network, but everything is connected up here and being managed with laser IO. All of our circuit production, I did move it. I got rid of the mechanical crafter. The mechanical crafters are a little bit annoying. Every time I load into the world, everything kind of pops out of the mechanical crafters. So I end up with like a full inventory of things. But everything now is being managed with molecular assemblers. So you just put a pattern in here. And then, did I just see this run? Yes, this is running. So glass dust is slowly coming out there. And basically what I have around the corner back here is everything being provided that this wall uses. So there's an interface here. Over here on this laser node is where the extract is at. And this is just extracting on orange. And then all of these have filtered inputs. Let's take, for instance, this guy here. Got a filtered input. We're using the counting item filter and 1 charcoal. All of the machines are set up the same way. Copper there, steel. This one, yeah, it is a counting filter. It just hasn't ran to create more steel rods. If we go downstairs, we can come over here and take a look at the greenhouse controllers. So these are all wired up, again, using laser IO. There is an energy card here supplying the energy converters, powering these machines. And over here, through these 4 machines, we've got spruce, pumpkins, rice, and sugarcane. Oh, and apparently there's a sheep in there. Spawned in there. Okay. As you can see, I did remove all of the Tom's simple storage down here. Everything is rewired with applied energistics. As we get further along with power production, I'll probably use more wireless connectors. Right now I'm just using cables and dense cables where they are needed. Like here we've got 10 channels, so I had to run a dense cable up to here to be able to split off. But same system here. We're supplying all of our items through this extended interface, and then we're extracting these two, and actually, I do need on some of these an extra a node overclocker, because a node by itself per face will only run one card at a time, and each overclocker will run an additional card. So this one actually needs one additional card to be able to run that. But here I've got a different color network. I tried to color code networks, that way it's a little bit easier to see, trying to manage everything. But ripped out all the Tom stuff. It was giving me a little bit of lag issues in the instance like here. So this is trying to pull from this interface, and AE2 does a decent job. AE2 does a decent job as far as lag is concerned. Tom's not so much. So even if it wasn't running and the laser node was trying to look at Tom's network, it was actually killing our TPS. Our TPS number down here was actually really, really low. I mean, we were like single digits, so the world was lagging really hard. I did pull out the modular routers that were running, the extra modular routers that were running through our sifters. I don't think that that was causing a lot of lag, but maybe it was a little bit. But all of these are connected. I did pull out all of the pipes as well from pipes. We can see here, we got a whole bunch of these that we're using all around the base that we're not using anymore. Over here, this is our witch water production. So all of our water is being handled through these blue laser nodes. And then the purple laser nodes are the witch water. Our fluid storage is hooked up. We've got storage buses. These things are partitioned. I did set up over here. I did rip out our tree farm. Got a dancing cow here. This one is farming flax for strength. So I did rip out the tree farm and I put down our Sterling dynamos. These are just creating kind of extra power. That is getting used a little bit. It's just some kind of extra auxiliary power. But we've got a fan. We got fans here. I'm missing a motor apparently. Basic motor? These aren't basic motors. These are strong motors. Missing a brass casing. I could put a basic motor down here, I believe. I think I had one down. I'm not sure what happened to it, actually. But we're inserting charcoal, or we're inserting logs and then exporting the charcoal. The charcoal does come over here first to the Sterling dynamos, but then it comes into that drawer. I think that's about all that really got changed over here. I am managing with level emitters, the campfires that make our wrought iron and our glass. I know that there's an maybe easier recipe with glass using sand and oxygen. I just haven't kind of switched to that yet. This is kind of just extra resource production, so that's why I took out the modular routers. So we'll drop that stuff off. We've got lava and tempered glass over here that's being managed on this same network. Those blocks were just kind of randomly up here. Cobblestone. Let's see. Is there anything else worth noting over here? The biodiesel plant I didn't really change at all. I do have these disabled because they weren't really producing a lot of power, but they were using a lot of stress units. I could turn them back on. They don't really do much. Like I said, it's not really that much power. If we take a look, it's producing like 920, whatever that is, zaps per tick. That might be RF per tick, which is not very much at all. If we take a look back over here, we can head over, and this is the system. This is the area that I spent the most time on. This took a lot to redo. Pulling out all the Tom's simple storage and replacing everything with applied energistics and laser IO took quite a bit of time. I do have fluid storage here, so these are just 1K drives, and I've got them all renamed so I can see what's inside of them. So any of the fluids that we make over here, take for instance bronze, liquid bronze, just being imported into the system. That liquid bronze we'll use for pretty much any fluid solidifier stuff, so gears, rotors, stuff like that. Bronze gears. But all of these lines are now completely filled up. The only machine that kind of doesn't belong over here, that's not kind of a permanent fixture, would be this advanced circuit assembler. I used this on a project, so it's kind of just placed here on the end. But I did add in a lot of production stuff over here. Why is this backed up? Apparently I'm out of Certus. Certus plates. Certus and diamonds. We have Certus. We have diamonds. Why are these not supplying? See, this is a weird thing that happens sometimes that I'm kind of confused about. Clearly, we have plates here. Do I not have them linked? I don't have them linked. That makes sense. Now this thing is running over here. Yeah, now these are running. Okay. So we're backed up on AE2 stuff. Why is this not working? Nether quartz, redstone. Is this running? Does this need more overclockers? No. You've got nether quartz, you've got redstone, Certus quartz. I don't have Certus quartz in here. This one. Now that's working. And this has a puller. That's going up, yes. What else did I do over here that's kind of noteworthy? Oh, we do have polyethylene. I did... everything now is set up on fluid storage, so all of our fluid crafting is set up to just go into these drives. Once they're in the drive, then it gets pulled out and placed into the different machines that it's supposed to be going into, you know, like sulfuric acid, stuff like that. Do we not have sulfuric acid? No? We are creating it. That should be here. Yeah, we just use all of it. It's just slow to make it. Over here we do have more chips. So I've got laser engravers set up with silicone. We've got plastic printed circuit boards. I did set up a molecular assembler wall. So again, we put the pattern just in the molecular assembler, and then we're exporting items from an extended interface through a network here, and all of these things get inserted. I think down, yes, there's one there. I did alternate the colors, so you can see I've got blue, purple, blue, purple. I alternated them that way. They're obviously not connected. These little networks are completely independent from each other. So I've got a wireless connector coming up into the interface, and then that feeds out into everything. If I was going to change anything at all, it would be running power through, but then all of these systems would be connected, and it would just be a little bit more complicated. I want them to be individual systems on each one of these kind of blocks. If we go downstairs, I did remove all of our ore processing machines. Those are over here. Eventually, I'm going to need to set these back up, obviously, as we run out of ingots and stuff like that. We do have the basic ones still over there running, but we're going to set up new ore processing here pretty soon. Over here, the EBFs are pretty much untouched. They're just wired in. They run consistently now without turning off. I do have a void card on the silicon. On the silicon ingots. I'm not sure why those aren't going in here. They should be. This should have a higher priority. Actually, this should probably just have a lower priority. I want things to go in here last. I want things to go in the drawers first. I don't have a disk drive set up for AE2, so it's just that colossal chest. But I have silicon being voided because this is like my primary source of oxygen right now that comes in. I do have another molecular assembler wall down here. So down here I've got a pattern provider, so anything that we want to make, like I had just set up these drawers. So now we just have the 1x1 stack of drawers just set and ready at all times. Also 1K storage components. I don't know that we'll need bigger storage components other than for the matter condenser, because this takes a 64 or a 256 to be able to make singularities. The singularities, these don't really have a use, so we'll use them for wireless. We'll use them for a wireless terminal, but other than that, I don't think that we'll have too much of a use for them. But over here, we're auto-crafting the stuff for laser I/O components, including filters, cards for AE2 stuff, filters and the counting filter, the overclockers, and the logistic overclocker and the node overclocker, more drawers, the X-tone stuff that we need to be able to make our drawers. Over here, we are producing polyethylene. We take a look. We can see we've got 240 buckets of liquid polyethylene. So we've got sugar coming in that gets turned into... Is it this? Advanced compressor. Is the biomass? Can I use the biomass directly? I could. That would probably be a better solution because I'm taking 8 of it to turn into a plant ball. The plant ball goes into a macerator. The biochaff goes into the brewery to make biomass. The biomass goes into the distillery to make ethanol. The ethanol gets mixed with sulfuric acid to make ethylene. Ethylene gets mixed with hydrogen. No, where is it? Gets mixed with air. That's down here. Ethylene, oh, I'm sorry. Ethylene and oxygen. So we've got polyethylene, and we've got polyethylene ingots, the large polyethylene fluid pipe, we've got thin sheets and sheets. The last thing that I kind of went through and crafted was the super tank. And if we take a look at our quest book, the Industrial Revolution, now this is completely finished. I did go through and make the better circuits. So over here, we're just inserting into a circuit assembler. This is the LV circuit. This is the MV circuit, and this is the HV circuit. And these are completely automated. If I set a trash can in here, it would just make HV circuits until we ran out of the raw resources. And we might be making raw resources fast enough, because each one of these takes 1 second, or 40 seconds? 40 seconds in an LV circuit assembler. If we went up to like an MV, it would be faster. I just didn't make these because it's a passive process, and if we ever get to a point where we need more, I'll just make the drawer larger. One of the biggest bottlenecks is diodes, which I'm probably gonna remove these two because I want it to make a whole lot more diodes than that. What else? Over here I keep having this weird issue with things breaking. And I'm not sure why. If the chunks get unloaded. What is it? 3G? No, okay. So I don't really understand why these motors keep on breaking. It's 192. That's the top one. I could probably turn it down. Let's turn them down and see. This one on this side needs to be, what is it? The top. Yeah, I'm not sure why, like, over here, this one kept breaking, and now these ones broke, and I'm not really sure why it's doing that. Okay, so over here, what I was starting to say is I moved our distilled water. These two setups were over here. So now we have distilled water being made, and that's because the distilled water is used. I originally set those up to be used in these, right? Input. Yes. So these use the distilled water. And then over here, we're making seed oil, we're making lubricant, and we're making drilling fluid. And the lubricant we do use throughout the base. The drilling fluid only gets used in these void extractors, and the seed oil only gets used in this guy. I don't know that there's really another use for the seed oil. I guess so. And glycerol. Sodium hydroxide dust. Eventually, we might use the seed oil for something else, but currently we are not. Over here, this is our AE2 controller. So we've got a crafting terminal. Apparently I had some stuff left in there. And we've got another pattern encoding terminal over here. And these are solar panels. These are the tier 2 solar panel. Each one of these generates 512 forge energy per tick. And there's a whole stack of them here, which means we are making 32,768 forge energy per tick. Down here on the bottom side, this is kind of just thrown together. This is the quantum link chamber that will eventually get a quantum entangled singularity. One will go in here and the other one will go here, and that'll give us wireless AE2 anywhere in the whole entire on the server. Actually, let's see, anything else noteworthy over here? We are using P2Ps, so those are connected, and we're going to use a subnetwork. So we have our main network here that all of our machines are going to communicate through. And then the P2Ps need channels, so those are going to be connected through another controller that's down here, which is just being powered. I could probably put like another energy acceptor down just to get rid of this. Let's do that. If I do, I need to make sure I have everything. On the down would be an insert with a high priority. And if we disconnected these, place that there, put an energy connector there, now you should be backloaded with power. Cool. That looks a lot cleaner as well. And then I could... Now this isn't going to use very much power. It's using 400 forge energy. But we could put an energy cell on there. So we're pulling out of these, and they are connected with the advanced laser connector, which just runs over here into, this is what ended up being our kind of default power storage area. So all the power goes into here, and it also gets power. It's extracting from this. This is also getting power inserted from these dynamos up there that are connected with this cable, but then also these dynamos over here. This is extracting on orange, so these dynamos go directly into that energy cell that's over here. So I think that's more or less. I did start putting some storage over here of just kind of random items. I think this will work out as an okay place for some item storage. I'm probably going to move this controller up to here, maybe, just to have it make a little bit more sense. That way I don't have to go underneath to like relink it after I put down new drawers. I should probably just put a bunch of drawers down and then fill them as needed. But my plan for the base, one of the things that we've got to work on next would be ore processing. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is having a bunch of these electric ore factories will be over here. If we take a look at our crushed resources and our raw resources, comes out to, I think, needing like 11. So 9, 10, 11, 12. We're putting that in there. I kind of want to run it through a sifter, but I don't think it's necessarily important to do that. So 9, 10, 11, 12. And then with the raw ones as well, these are going to also end up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like 6 of the raw resources, so 18. I'm not sure if these will be faster. I think they will be faster than what we're producing the resources, but it's just going to be me crafting up a bunch of these and then placing them down, wiring them in a way that makes sense. And running probably a new storage, because this creates dusts So what I'll probably do is have this output into maybe possibly a storage subnetwork, or maybe just a drawer wall. And then I think this can get used. The electric or factory. We can scale this up all the way through the different tiers. So we'll probably end up keeping these. I don't know if it's better to go with different ore processings. So if we take a look at this line, we could run it through all this complicated stuff, or we could just run it through this, or possibly this one in the future. But I think they're roughly the same size. Yeah, they are the same size. It would just be after we get into IV, tungsten steel. So I'll probably wall share a bunch of those, and I might send them up closer to the front here and run them all the way down and see how many we can squeeze in. What else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I did that I need to update you about. I've just been so busy with running the gym and everything that it's just been really difficult to sit down and feel inspired to record an episode. So that's why I am like way far behind and way late. Like I said, I think the next thing that I plan on working on would be the ore processing. I guess showing you the solar panels. So the solar panels, normally they would scale. So you would take like a tier 1 solar panel and you would have to use the tier 1 to make the tier 2. That's not the case here. They all have their own individual recipe, at least from what I could see. Like the tier 2 just takes different materials. It doesn't use the tier 1. Tier 3 takes its own materials. The 4, titanium, a new wafer. I didn't make the 3s. We have stainless steel, or we can get stainless steel. We can get stainless steel, HV, yeah. Because the manganese we could just get from pyrolusite, and we do have pyrolusite. But we don't have the HV assembler, which I might be able to get. Possibly stainless steel. Yeah, so I could have gone this route, but I think what we'll end up doing is actually skipping a couple of tiers. So the tier 2 makes 512, tier 3 makes 2048. We go up to the tier 4 titanium. Maybe we'll upgrade to this one next, which is 8192. Tier 5 makes 32,000. 6 makes 130. Okay, 7 does use the previous tier. That goes up to 524. 8 uses the previous tier. That's kind of nice. I mean, they are pretty expensive, but 2 million. And then is there a 9? No, that's as high as it goes. Goes up to tier 8. Which 2 million forge energy per tick is pretty crazy. So yes, the kind of next step that I think is gonna open us up, having AE2 is huge, and having crafting walls and stuff like that, having a lot of these resources just makes it really easy, because when I want to expand, like I have interfaces, molecular assemblers, I've got cables, patterns, Coming down here, I have everything I need to be able to make storage buses. So to be able to make a storage bus, boom, I've got interfaces, got pistons, that's no problem. If we're gonna make import buses, we've got all this stuff on autocraft. Export buses on autocraft. If we wanted to go with a more advanced one, like we're one step away from this. We have these and these on autocraft. Or I should say not autocraft, but passive crafting. I much prefer passive crafting because then you're building setups that have a function and not just a machine that has a pattern provider or maybe an extended pattern provider or a mega pattern provider that you just have a bunch of patterns in. You know, instead of having one advanced alloy smelter with a pattern provider that's saying, hey, you can make all of these alloys, just put down the alloy smelters wherever. Like I've got one here for Electrum. And this one here for the Cooper nickel. In my mind, it's just easier doing it this way. These are machines that are just constantly running, again, on passive. Some of these, like this is empty because this actually takes an insert of the purified Certus, which we got from crushing, grinding, something, I don't remember. It was a byproduct of a process that we once had set up. Yeah, so ore processing. That'll be the next thing on the list. I'll probably run ore processing here, and then over here on this side, this will probably be an expansion of what I have going on up here. I'll probably run some different lines. We can see these are lined up. So I might run additional lines down here if there are processes that I run into that we need to be able to make the electric ore factory. So this guy is going to take bronze, all this stuff we have. I don't have the bronze gears, so we could use a fluid solidifier. I could set up a kind of bank of fluid solidifiers here. That might make sense to do fluid solidifiers, fluid extractors. What else would we need here? The muffler hatch, maintenance hatch. An assembler. I could set up an assembler to make maintenance hatches. Probably an assembler as well to do the machine hulls. What else? The muffler hatch. We'll probably do this guy. I think I have tin rotors. I don't think I've got bronze pipes set up. What else? Do these get used? The bronze machine case. Is this only used? What is this? Steam kiln controller. Electric ore factory, ore processing plant. Steam ore factory. So these do get used, but I don't think they are very important. Bronze plates. We might set up a thing for bronze plates. Not going to be using bronze tools. Cheaper piston or Not really cheaper pistons, but another recipe for the piston. Double bronze plate. I don't think we'll need that for anything. So, yes, that will be the next goal. We'll be setting up ore processing. Let me know if you guys have played Star Technology. Let me know if there's anything I should be kind of prepping for in the future. If there's a certain resource that I should be kind of setting my eyes on now. Maybe it's increasing buffers. I don't know. If we do get to a point, I should say that if I get to a point where something isn't producing fast enough over here, either with the LV machines or the MV machines, I will just build a new system. I don't plan on ripping any of this out. This is pretty much going to stay here untouched, other than maybe adding more fluids to this. This whole entire floor right here is going to stay the way it is permanently. Anything that's not fast enough will just kind of stay here as an old legacy system. So let me know if there's some stuff that I need to be looking out for. Let me know how much you guys are enjoying the base and the progress. Again, like I said, I do apologize if you were waiting on an episode to come out. Just been real busy with life stuff, so. But I think I'm probably going to call that here. I think that's enough rambling. So appreciate you guys stopping in. See you next time.